Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Ibu Elizabeth Rukmini, the Vice Rector for Collaboration Research and Strategic Planning. And also Ibu Diau Ailin, the Library Coordinator. Yeah. Thank you all for coming and joining us today. Last week, we had started the road to the launching of Ben and Nafsia Boy collections. On that time, we had discussed a book named The Mother Tongue, English and How It Got That Way, delivered by Lan Nguyen from Vietnam. She's Lan. Okay. Now this evening, we have the second event of the book discussion, Indonesia, an Anthropological Perspective, written by James L. Peacock. So the book discussion will be delivered by Salma El-Gamal. She's from the University of Vienna, yeah, and she has a bachelor degree in cultural and social anthropology, and has 2 master's degree in political science and socioeconomics. Okay, give applause to Salma. Yeah. Currently, she is doing the internship in Atma Jaya and involving in the Ben and Nafsia Boy collection project. So now, together with Lan and Salma, they will describe a little bit about what Ben and Nafsia Boy collections is. Okay, Lan.
Thank you, Bu. Hello, selamat sore. My name is Lan, and my team is working in the library of Jaya. Basically, what we have to do is to cataloging the books collection from Mr. Ben Boy and Ibu Nafsia into the library, and organizing the book discussions with the books from the collection. So, a little bit about the collection. This is a collection of more than 19,000 books, so there's a lot of books. Donated by Mr. Ben Boy and Ms. Nafsia. Is anybody here have ever heard about those names? Yeah, Mr. Ben Boy is the governor of Nusa Tenggara Timur since from 1978 until 1988, so 2 terms in a row. And Ibu Nafsia is the former Minister of Health from 2012 to 2014. They donated almost more than 19,000 books, as I said before. And this is like the premiere, like the movie premiere, where you have the chance to see the movies for the first time. So you can see it like this. This is the first time, and you're the first people who get access to the book, because right now the book is not open for the public yet, but you will soon have access to the book in the middle of August. And we also have book discussion, 3 of them in total. Last week is the first one hosted by me, and I can see some familiar face here from my last book discussion. Today, for the book discussion, Salma will walk you through the book discussion and give you some insights from the book called Indonesia, an Anthropological Perspective. And later she will discuss with you about some current situation in Indonesia right now. So, okay, a little bit about Salma. She majored in anthropology for her bachelor degree, and right now she is studying political science. So please join me in welcoming Salma.
Thank you, Lan. Thank you all for coming and joining my book discussion today. Before I'm gonna start and talk about the book, I just want to present myself a little bit further to give you all an answer for why I am actually here. When I came to Indonesia, I was asked this question quite often. Why did you choose Indonesia? And to make it easy for me, I always said, I didn't choose Indonesia, Indonesia chose me. But this is like really all but true. Subconsciously, I actually chose Indonesia a long, long time ago. But I mean, I was really interested in the culture in Indonesia itself, how it's built, so many islands, how do they like really organize all of it. But I knew it will not be easy for me to get there. It's expensive, it's a foreign language I'm not capable of speaking, so my idea was like, Okay, the easiest way to go there is through university. So whenever I see anything related to Indonesia announced by the university, I always want to go for it. And it happened that I was on our homepage and I saw that our university is offering a language course, Indonesian language course. And I went for it and I applied for it and I had a really, really interesting time. And it happened that my lovely teacher introduced us to the internship here at Atma Jaya. So I applied for it, but honestly, not really thinking that I would be choosing. However, 2 days later, my mom just called me and she was like, yeah, what are your plans for summer? I think she missed me and she wanted me to stay at home for the whole summer. And I was like, yeah, I just have some plans with friends. And oh yeah, I applied for a scholarship in Indonesia, but it would be a miracle if I would be choosing, so never mind, I'll be at home for summer now. Well, I'm not, and we are both really happy that I am not at home right now. We are really glad and absolutely grateful to be here, working for this wonderful project. And I think opportunities like these lead you to become whoever you want to be. And I also think that Mr. Ben Boy had such opportunities in his life, as he came out of poor circumstances, working at library, teaching, studying, earning money in any kind of way. He had the opportunity to become a very, very great governor. Mr. Ben Boy and Mr. Ben Boy had a lot of interest and talents, and I think one of the most talents and interests he had was reading books. And I was told by his wonderful wife that Mr. Ben Boy did not only read the books for his pleasure, but he also used it to be a good governor. So he was able to talk to political persons, any member of the parliament, but also to people like fishermen, tailors, traders, whatever. So today we're going to talk about Mr. Ben Boy's one of those great talents and interests, which is politics, but from an anthropological perspective, to combine some of his talents, not all of them, but only 2 of them. One second. Yeah, no. So, to begin with, I'm going to introduce the book Indonesian Anthropological Perspective. The book was written by Mr. James L. Peacock. Mr. James L. Peacock is an anthropological professor at the University of California in America. He started to have interest in Indonesia from the very beginning of his career. He did a lot of research, fieldwork in Surabaya first, and then he continued to do fieldwork all over Indonesia. His main interest is actually into the reformation of Islam in Indonesia, but he continued to do more fieldwork on the Western influence on Indonesia and the whole political situation. So this book is actually a scientific book, but it is written in a really easy way so everybody can understand it. He still uses terms that are not understandable for everybody, therefore he provides a glossary in the end of the book. He tries to be really neutral. However, you can realize that he has kind of a critical attitude toward the Western world. I'm using another term, Western, because he uses it, but it's kind of critical to use this term nowadays. To have a look at the content, he is not only referring to the political and social situation in Indonesia. He started from the very beginning talking about the land and the people, the rise of the different ethnic groups, as well as the Islam, and then going further into the social movements and into the political situation. But it was recognizable for me, he doesn't state it as such, but it was recognizable for me that he focuses on 3 main areas to talk about Indonesia, and they appear in each of those topics and each of those chapters. And this is first of all, the rise of the Indonesian society, its diversity, as well as the political situation of Indonesia. But even though he tries to be neutral, we still have to bear in mind that this book was published in 1973. And during that time, gender equality and social equality was still kind of in the making, not really as it is today, and still it has a long process to go. So we have to consider wrong direction. Now, androcentrism and ethnocentrism. And by androcentrism, I mean the point of view, the worldview from a male person looking to women. Because you think, when you read the book, okay, there is gender equality, but still we have to bear in mind that maybe he sees it as a gender equality because he's a male and he has no idea why females should not feel like equal. And the ethnocentrism, like, this is the view from your point of view, like seeing your ethnic group as prior to others, even though you feel that he is like kind of not neutral to the ethnic groups and to the people he is observing, but still, we have to bear it in mind, it might be different nowadays. Yeah, so I'm gonna go over to the book discussion itself, so away from all this theoretical part, and I will concentrate today on society, religion, and politics of Indonesia, and get a little bit more into details about those topics. I will not go too far back into the history, talking about the colonization and the time Indonesia tried to get independence and then use Japan to get independence and whatever. No, I will just start from the point and from the day Indonesia became independent by signing the independence formed by Mr. Sukarno. Sukarno was the first president of Indonesia, starting by the date of 1945. During that time, actually the whole world was in a changing process. World War II was ending and a lot of new movements were happening. So it was actually his job to unite the country and the nation and to try to build it from new. And Mr. Sukarno was really keen on unity because he realized very early that there are a lot of problems that may happen because of the diversity of the people of Indonesia. So one of the first things he did was raising awareness to Pancasila. And with Pancasila, I mean, he did not use it as a constitution, but it was like the first step to have a constitution, to have 5 points to rely on. So the whole society will concentrate on them. And the first and most important thing for him was they believe in one God. So he knows that there are different religions and people try to fight each other somehow. So he gave everybody the chance to believe in any God he wants, but just believe in one God. He was kind of criticized by that, of few groups, like they did not really agree with it because, yeah, they had because he was Muslim, so they were afraid that maybe the Islam would not be important anymore. However, Pancasila is until now still very important. Yeah, Mr. Sukarno was president for almost 22 years, but he then left his presidency and Suharto became president of Indonesia. Suharto also used Pancasila, but in a different way. It was more ideological. He kind of misused it sometimes to have an excuse for example, imprison people or have an excuse for bad behavior. So he was also criticized by the society, even though he had a lot of relations international, so he had the Indonesian people to have a better economic system or education system, and so on and so on. Yeah, by the time, he was reigning and president for 31 years, and during that time people were also criticizing him for being part of a sect or mispresenting the religion he was part of, which is also Islam. So he tried to behave like a Muslim and to go to Hajj and pretend to be like a really, really good religious person, and all of it relying on the Pancasila. I had the chance to talk to a former activist who was a student at the time Suharto was president, and I asked him several questions about the political situation back in the days. Also, why he was really keen on and interested on having a change in the society. He was the leader of the Islamic Student Association, and they were fighting against the communism during that era. So I asked him the following question. What major event occurred during that time which probably led to a social and political change? And his answer was, there were repeated events of regime consolidation and upheaval for democratic demands throughout using a number of opportunities. And do not forget, economic development had the formation of middle class and widespread and higher education. These two social developments had the major political change in 1998 to 1999. So after Suharno left presidency, there were a lot of different reformation movements and tries and attempts to have a stable government and nation here in Indonesia. But the issues back in the days, and that what I want to discuss now today, is religion, social injustice, and social diversity, as well as politics. So I'm gonna start with religion. Religion is also a very important part in the book Indonesian Anthropological Perspective. Therefore, I want to provide you with that quote. Quote from page 146. Dividing the nation in one way, uniting it in another, the three major religious streams of Indonesia, animist, Muslim, and Hindu Buddhists, cross-cut the diversity of social coupling that divides the varied ethnic groups. So it was already 1973 that religion was a big topic for Indonesia, and that people were really keen on having a united nation, even though there is a variety of religion and ethnic groups within the nation. Further, we can also talk about the ethnic diversity, and therefore I want to provide you this quote from page 140. The notion of plural society was first elaborated with respect to Indonesian society, and the Indonesian city or town certainly manifests a plural composition and that its diverse ethnic groups and classes split into separate neighborhoods. There was still an attempt of separating the nation, the ethnic groups, but the Indonesian society didn't want to separate it as such. They still wanted to accept it and to be aware of the unity and diversity they have. Therefore, I also read Mr. Clifford Geertz's interpretation of culture. Clifford Geertz was one of the first anthropologists who did fieldwork, and his interest was in all of Indonesia. He started in Sumatra, but then also did fieldwork in Bali and on Java. Mr. Clifford Geertz published his book also in 1973. This is why I mention him right now. And in the chapter Thick Description, he describes a cockfight on Bali Island. And with this cockfight, he is actually representing the whole society and social system of Bali, and trying to implement it also on Indonesia as such. And he already mentioned in that chapter that the Indonesian society is very kind of open-minded to diversity. There is, out of his opinion, we still have to bear in mind that time, 1973, androcentrism and ethnocentrism might be an issue. But during that time, he already said that the gender equality was very obvious. There is no difference between female and male, and also the social justice. Right? Through this cockfight, he could find out that the social system is really keen on the unity of Indonesia. This also leads us to talk about the social injustice. So the urban middle class encompasses middle-level, white-collar workers in government and business, poor teachers, the middle ranks of the army and police, merchants, and some artisans. The badly underpaid government workers in the larger cities must live in camp. So 1973, one of the main issues was further like social injustice than the social diversity. It was still not really fair, developed and distributed, so it was the main issue for them, and actually they were embracing the unity and the diversity already. This may be a part of the political integration as well. So the political integration of religion, gender, and any other topic was already very important in 1973. Peacock says, women enjoy high status in Indonesia. Females and males are both considered legal components. So not only Mr. Clifford Pierce, but also James L. Peacock view it as a gender equality during 1973 in Indonesia. But he sees that more significant is the conflict between the underlying values of Islam and those of Adat. My question is already, what is the position of Adat right now? Is it still the same, or was it back in the days, 1973, more important than it is today? Or how does it stand with religion? So this leads me to show you that guy. Indonesia's current president, Mr. Joko Widodo. Mr. Joko Widodo is very, his attempt is to satisfy each social group of Indonesia. So he is a Muslim himself, but he pretty well knows that there are a lot of other religions and ethnic groups living in Indonesia and being Indonesian citizens. So he tries to satisfy all of them and not only implement Islamic values into his government. However, I wanted to hear the opinion from a normal person. So I also asked the former activist I showed you before about his opinion on the situation right now. And his opinion on what has changed from the past until now is we follow. We have some degree of political liberty, but standstill discrimination against minority groups, lack of legal protection. We also still have weak law enforcement on many issues. The country economic development is still far from enough, as at least 28 million people still live below poverty line. But at least regular and fairly free and fairly elections, freedom of speech and press and freedom of assembly. So this is his opinion on what has changed since Suharto era and after it as well. So I am already 4 weeks here, and in these 4 weeks I had a good chance to talk to a variety of people about this topic. And surprisingly, I had so many different opinions, and I heard so many different issues as well that they saw as important. And I'm just here like actually a visitor, so who am I to judge or who am I to experience the political situation in Indonesia? Therefore, I would actually really be interested in your opinion about the political situation here. We're here just to share opinions, not to judge. So I would love to hear from you what you think are the current issues for the Indonesian society, as well as what has changed and what still needs to be changed since the history of Indonesia. I would recommend to separate in groups of maybe 4 or 5 people, or how much you want to, and discuss it in 20 to 25 minutes, and then we'll just like share our opinions about all the topics and have a great input about it. But I want to provide you also keywords, because it is not only religion, society, and politics the main issue. So I just want to give you an idea of what we can discuss, like for example also the security or media or the justice of Indonesia, whatever comes to your mind. Thank you. For now, please discuss whatever you want. Everybody ready? Already discussed? Before we continue our discussion, I would just like to introduce you a Indonesian anthropologist working for Atma Jaya. Thank you for joining us. Also, for the people who raise their hands and state their opinions, we have a little gift to motivate all of you a little bit more to talk. I would like to start with the first question. So, what issues are currently important for Indonesian society? What results do you have? Or what issues did you come already? Ask questions to you.
Okay, we are from okay, actually my name is Maria, and when we think about the issues that currently burn for the Indonesian society is about the media, because like in the new order and then Suharto's period, we know that the media is like they are much more silent, and then the media is used mainly as to inform about the government policy. So the media is like dictated by the government, but now the media becomes much freer and freer, and then they can express freely. But then we can also to the point that the media not only like inform the people, but also to subconsciously like to dictate us, and then also to with the media framing, and then they also create like bad guy and the good guy in the politics, so that the media right now is like takes side to the point that we think that it's like over not balanced, that they don't have any balance anymore. So that's what they think about the media bias. And then also since I did in a junior high school, so that then the student also find it kind of difficult to find like a reliable sources, because the media always takes side, and then the truth is always biased, So that's what we think. Is there anything that you will apa?
Do you think that the media has also an influence on elections or political behavior?
Yeah. That's what happened with the election, Jokowi election. Yeah, like during politics, you can see it clearly. Like the media also the media is divided into two parties, like the Jokowi and the Prabowo, and then we know that there is I think like it comes to the extent that it's kind of like a propaganda in politics too. So we don't really know like which one is true or which one can we trust, gitu. Like in our student also becomes like real difficult to find out, because like if you take side, if the media takes side, then they will just overexpose the candidate positive point, but then they also overexpose the others candidate negative point of view. So that's what we feel.
Does anybody have another opinion or the same opinion on this topic? Me.
Before we move to the article over here, we have a small gift for the speaker here. For your contribution. Oh, sorry, I should give it my right hand. Sorry. It's real hard to get used to that.
I didn't notice that.
I want to add her explanation actually. I'm teaching literature and philosophy for diploma program, and then we were discussing here about the national identity, the sense of belonging. Most of our teenagers right now, or the young adults right now, they are refusing themselves to put the position as the political or politicians. They said like, okay, that's something cheesy, and then that's something like lies behind it, and then something like that. So they don't want to choose that kind of career. So sometimes they are a little bit neglecting about whether you want to join the election or not. And then one or two of my students are now registering for university level, and then they were taking their admission in UK, and then when I was asking like you are taking the political science, and then why don't you take in Indonesia? Because like, oh miss, do you want me to be like our politicians right now? They thought the same thing like that. So I felt like I'm a bit surprised of that statement, and then they feel like, okay, this is my option that I have to go abroad for having university level and then going back here to make Indonesia better. That's what they think right now. That's what we face from the young adults right now.
What do they say? Like, what is the problem of the political situation of the politicians? Like, what is not that enjoyable or that good what they are doing? So they don't want to be like that. What is it?
We were learning about language and propaganda, language and campaign language and power. We analyze most of the cases. We analyze the media. We analyze how they create the campaign, how they create the propaganda, and then they analyze that. Okay, miss, this is so cheesy to be here as politicians. It is like a Korean drama to be here, and then I don't want to be here, and then I don't want to study political science here, and I want to go abroad. That's better for me. Well, yeah, sometimes we give them another perspective that this is not the exact perspective that you will have like that, but they say that, okay, no, I'm still going abroad like that. So that's what happened with young adults that I teach right now. Yeah, and most of them coming from the middle and then upper class of the social status. That's what happened.
Still an issue of propaganda, media, and all of that. Is there anything, any other topic that is really an issue right now or important?
Religious freedom.
Sorry? Religious freedom. Religious freedom? Is it still? Can I hear any point of view? Where do we have the gift?
So we have another gift, and I'm wearing a bag, so like it's enough for everyone here. It's so good. Which is a highlight, I think, and we are like so excited to give it to people. So please take it. Thank you.
You're like a
So, talking about religion freedom, what is the issue of religion freedom nowadays in Indonesia? Any statements?
So I have talked a little bit with the cameraman Pak Kotot from Sana, and he was talking to me about something, the differences in a lot of debates around the religion and the spiritual. Yeah. What is it again, Pak? Yeah, and everyone has any comment on that because according to him, it's like still a hot debate on it right now.
I just try to think out loud. I'm still thinking right now. Okay, when we talk about the religion, it's not longer about the religion as an individual. We talk about the political things, because religion is coming like a commodity for the political things. So if you want to choose the leaders, it's just the religions that one. That's what we think. I don't know about my personal experience. I'm a Catholic, so I will choose a very safe company for me to work like that, because I don't want to take any chances or any risk to work with a company that gives me a higher risk to be fired or to get further problems with the religion. So me and my husband personally, we choose a very safe company to work.
Okay. Similar to your what you are, like what religion you belong to or what status you belong to.
Yeah. As long as the mission of the company is suitable for me, it's better for me. So I will play safe. That's a personal experience for me.
Does anybody else experience the same?
Anyone want to comment on that?
Oh. Yeah. There are two girls hiding. Please talk with
I
us.
would love to listen from you guys. When you started with an English, what is your English? But not too much.
Yeah,
We're not that good.
Need translation.
We discuss about religion or Indonesia we call Sara. Sara kepanjangannya suku, agama, ras, antar agama, antar golongan gitu. Menurut kami sekarang itu merupakan isu yang nggak pernah selesai, never ending issue gitu. Jadi kita yang important thing isu in Indonesia in especially political, it's about Sarah. Sarah? Sarah. Can you explain it? S-A-R-A.
What is it about?
What is it about? It's about ethnicity, religion, and race.
Yes, with an anthropological point of view.
Yeah, actually the religion nowadays is very sensitive here because most of the people in Indonesia are Islam, are Muslim. Like the other discussant was saying that she is Catholic. Yeah, for us it's better to play safe. Yeah, because this is the Catholic University. But there, yeah, in the community, it's very the gap. Even though between the Islam, we call it radical Islam, the real Islam, and nowadays there is a discussion between two contrary about that is Islam Nusantara. It means it's Islam Indonesia, yeah. So they try to differentiate, yeah, between Islam radicals and Islam Nusantara. Islam radicals used to be terrorized, but Islam Nusantara can adopt the Indonesian norms. As an anthropologist, I used to teach the students that all the religions actually that are welcome or acknowledged here is imported. The real or the origin religion actually is that's what atheist or monotheist. Yeah? We devote to the stone, to the tree. Yeah, not Islam, not Christian, even Catholic, Hindu, Buddha are the coming. Yeah, so actually no other region that's really origin from Indonesia nowadays. So actually I used to teach them it's what for if we talk or we quarrel about the difference between religion. But yeah, for some, yeah, Islam, they have to devote to Islam. Even though that she said that you cannot elect, you cannot choose coblos, the other leaders that different from you, because they will give you the ayat-ayat, the phrase in Quran. Yeah. So everybody will be afraid. Even though my friend is she was an anthropologist. At first, when last year, when the election of the Jakarta, she is educated actually, but because they read about that phrase in the Quran, so she was very afraid. And then when she came to the building to vote, the same religion with her, because she can't imagine if she will go to the neraka, to the hell. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable for her. So this is the politician now plays this issue in the community because the majority of Indonesian people are less educated. So it's easy, very easy. You just give the Quran and then you just Nowadays also some of the religious leaders in Islam also play that.
So it's actually more about religion in politics than the politics itself. So it plays a huge role in political situation or system of Indonesia nowadays. What I would love to ask, like, what role does the social diversity play in all of that? Like, does the social diversity or the strength of the unity of the Indonesian people help them to fight against this attempt of separating the religion? Or is there a relationship between religious diversity and social ethnic diversity in Indonesia nowadays?
Yes, for the girl in the corner, thank you for your talk. Before we go on, Ibu Santi want to let you know a little bit about the guests.
Okay, I want to introduce Ibu Tias and Ibu Nani. Both of them are social psychologue. Yeah, give applause to them. They have written a book called Ibu Nani and Ibu Tias write a book about perempuan. Yeah, so their specialty is in gender and women. Okay, thank you. Maybe both of you can enrich our discussions today about the political things and gender.
Very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm a social psychologist, and my main interest is in cross-cultural encounters, history, and women. Now, this is subjective and personal. If I see and try to understand the Indonesian society, the main problem, I think, is that we still have to learn to communicate and listen to the other. Why? Because we are such diverse in the way of thinking, in our local language, and even in the way we live our everyday life. On the other hand, Indonesia was formed as a state nation, not nation state. It means that we proclaim ourselves as Indonesia. But what is Indonesian mean? What is being Indonesian? That still has to be constructed through discussion, through dialogue, through negotiation between the people. But of course, if we speak about the government, the language is different. The language is about power. The language is about who is right and maintaining their own perspective. So I think the main problem is that, and we at the academic university, especially psychology, I think we have an important role to bridge the gap in communication, because we have the tools, we have the approach, but the problem is psychology has not been given the right status and acknowledgement. In other terms, social science in Indonesia has still to be acknowledged its role. I think that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have to admit that the moment she speaks her voice up, Salma and I look at each other and I was like, oh my god, that voice is the voice of power. Oh, you can have like two.
But I would like to ask you a further question. As you're a specialist in gender, I would like to ask you about your opinion of the gender situation in Indonesia nowadays. Did it change from back in the days, in 1973 when we were talking about? Or what is your opinion about it?
gender is a Western concept. And it's very difficult to explain it to the Indonesian people. So, again, as a social psychologist, which my interest is in cross-cultural things, we have to know how Indonesian people see the role between male and female, and how Western interprets that. So if you want to develop a gender mainstreaming policy, again, you have to know the local people. You have to know their local knowledge. And then from there, you try to not only translate, but you have to, what do you call it, transliteration of the Western concept into the local meaning of people, so they can understand what gender means. I'm talking about the common people. I'm not talking about us who are privileged, because that's different. So in this case, the possibility of conflict, of misunderstanding, of the rising of fundamentalist kind of thinking can be something that can be avoided at least at the minimum cost. But then again, it requires the understanding of those policymakers of the role of social science, especially social psychology, especially cross-cultural psychology.